Hello again, ladies, gents and friends. Today I am back in the estuary. I am after berbigau, or as we say in English, cockles. Most definitely rubber boot terrain, or in the summer, better still, bare feet. As I am here in the estuary, I will first pick up some bait for bream. Razor shell bait. Would be a shame to waste the opportunity. And no matter how many times I see and do this, it's still great fun and never gets old. A lot of salt and a little patience is all it takes. I will not put too much emphasis on these guys, as I already have a video dedicated to them and how to catch and cook them, but just couldn't resist. This guy had me fooled for a while. I initially thought it was a razor shell, but it was actually a worm, a ragworm. They have dramatic pincers or fangs. Very common in European estuaries, but he was not at all happy with me dumping salt in his hole. This, I think, is the hole those worms live in. This one is a little exposed due to the erosion as the tide went out. Anybody home? I think not. The razor shell holes are distinctively different. They are more of an oval-shaped one, replicating their shell, like this one here. In with the salt, out with the razor shell. I have my little helper with me, my daughter, who is now quite good at it, and if the apocalypse eventually comes, at least she can forage for food. This is just excellent gilt-head bream bait, and makes a lovely rice dish as well. There is someone home in this one. Okay, back to clam digging. Be prepared for a good walk and a lot of digging until you find where they are. There are not as many evident signs to help as in the case of razor shell gathering, and it's just a process I will have to do myself, finding them. Although if the terrain permits and is not too messy, you should be able to notice some telltale signs in the sand. You may be able to see a small water spout, very small jets of water as they pump water for feeding, sand piles, small mounds or wormy-looking sand heaps, and depressions, dents or holes where they've recently burrowed. Other telltale signs are the two small pencil holes, which is due to the following. Clams have an in-current siphon and an out-current siphon, from which they filter feed, as shown here. And once they have buried themselves in the sediment, these will be exposed. You will hear people referring to them as the clam's eyes, and they glow slightly in the dark. This is what you should look out for, as it is probable there is a clam under the surface. And knowing where they are is a close-kept secret, as they are ever more harder to find. And nobody wants to dig in vain and go home empty-handed. I wonder whether the constant heavy machinery on the oyster farms have any impact on this. Just a thought. The oyster farms do take up quite a lot of real estate, and the mats where they are need attending to. Obviously this area is out of bounds, and we cannot forage there, but can for sure work round them. It seems that, or at least where I have been foraging, the cockles are found more in a muddier type of sediment rather than a sandier, softer one. Could just be coincidence. So it's fortunate and much appreciated when you don't need to dig at all and can just pick them from the shallows. But that doesn't always happen, and you have to work for it.
Estamos. Yippee.
I am digging in this manner for your benefit so you can see at what depth I was finding them. The depth varied anything from on the surface to 10 centimeters or 4 inches deep. Until you really learn where they are. As goes for any foraging and fishing, you will have a lot of work and a little or no return. The cockles are just too few over a too big of an area. Time to change location. It's just too much work here for so few. This required a train track crossing. Don't forget, stop, look, and listen. I still remember being taught that at school. And what a difference changing spot made, like night to day. I was, excuse the pun, literally raking them in. Much better. And after the selection and return of any undersized ones, comes the cleaning. I have already washed them off in salt water whilst at the estuary, but they will need cleaning, which takes anything from 4 to 12 hours, and a water change in between. I always bring salt water from the sea in a bottle. The salinity is just right, and what they are used to. They take in water through their in-current and expel it through their ex-current, which cleans the cockle from any sand. Once duly clean, rinse them off and set aside. Warm a very small amount of olive oil in a pan, ever so little, then add some lemon juice and 1 or 2 sprigs of coriander, and that's all the ingredients you need. Once the oil starts to get hot, add the cockles and cover with the lid. Shake them around every now and again so they are evenly cooked. They will start to open and release juices. This will combine with the other ingredients and steam them rather than boil them. Once they are all open, shake them around again and take off the heat, but leave the lid on. You want that steam to just finish them off to perfection. And finally, serve. Dribble a little more lemon over them and enjoy. Delicious. Did you notice all that beautiful sauce that appeared from nowhere? Just a quick heads up. Do not eat the ones that did not open, for they were dead before cooked and you never know for how long. Discard and do not eat. And just so we are all aware, the minimum permitted capture size for the cockle is 2.5 centimeters or an inch. Sometimes there is a protected season on the cockles and other mollusks, which normally is for the months of July and August, which coincidentally enough coincides with an old Portuguese saying, avoid shellfish during the months with no R in it. Curious. And now for some other curious estuary dwellers. Never ceases to be interesting. How about this interesting little thing? Doesn't move much. It is a heart urchin and lives buried in the sand. They are more furry rather than prickly and are also known as a sea potato. This clam is different. It's a raid-through clam, I think. Mactra stultorum, the scientific name. I returned this as was not on the menu today, as well as the Goliath clam that follows. This heavy and robust one. Sorry, but I don't know the name. Excuse my ignorance. Maybe someone can help me out here and drop a comment. It would be appreciated. I think it's a castagnola, but not sure. If you are squeamish, this isn't for you. Plenty, but plenty of worms, all shapes and sizes. Should be considered a good sign of a healthy ecosystem. And as the tide changes and starts to come back in, everybody somehow acts busy again and are all in a rush. Even these little sea snails, very small but very hungry and always on the move for food. This little fellow, which is a dunlin, or Calidris alpina bird, never stops, running up and down the shoreline. They get quite comfortable around humans and come quite close, constantly searching for insects, mollusks, worms and crustaceans in a sewing machine feeding action. The mullet, which are plentiful here, also return and start to feed on what the returning flooding tide provides. And the cycle will repeat itself like clockwork all over again on the next tide. And as a closing scene, I will leave you in the company of this little clam, writing and burying itself in the sand to avoid being lunch, as well as those sea snails to the bottom right trying to get into this clam shell, tiny critters, ferocious appetite. This will take a while, so a little music helps. That said, I hope to see you all again soon and wish you well.